welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Vintage at the request of Patreon subscriber rGold. And this is Simic One Ring Oath. rGold just wanted to see some Vintage, left the door open for me to pick the deck, and I found this incredible looking Oath build from Magic Online user Scalo94 in one of the recent challenge top 8s. This build of Oath is not Sultai, it is just Simic, which means we don't get Thoughtseize, Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor as cards that are pretty much staples in Sultai Oath. This deck also does not have the Tinker package, Tinker for Bolas's Citadel. And if we don't have Tinker for Citadel, it means we don't need Mystical Tutor or Sensei's Top either. And all those slots make a bunch of room for a bunch of copies of the One Ring. One of the problems with Oath is you sculpt your line, you shoot your shot, it gets stuffed, and then you're just sort of left with an Atraxa in your hand or with a Forbidden Orchard in play that you don't really want to tap for mana because your opponent gets power out of it. And the One Ring just moves us from 8 must counter spells in the form of Oath and Show and Tell to 12. I guess it would have been 9 for the Tinker, so we're plus 3 must counter spells. Still 2 Okos, if you consider that must counter. Some decks care, some decks don't. But we have 12 ways to demand an answer from the opponent, which is kind of exciting in a perverse way, because one of Oath's worst matchups is Jewel Shops, and Jewel Shop's whole thing is casting must counter spells until the opponent runs out of counters, and we've just taken a page out of their book and made it our deck. But I'm into it. This build features Gaia's Blessing, a card that I have not chosen to include in my Sultai Oath builds. It's always like the 61st to 63rd card I want to include in my deck when the chips are down and I have to submit for whatever tournament I'm playing. This card enables some really cool stuff. This means you're not going to run out of Oath targets, which is extra important if you're drawing a bunch of cards with the One Ring. In non-blessing builds, Oath mills your deck. You mill until you hit a creature and you put it into play. And if those cards are important, like your Time Walk or an Oko or whatever, it's usually Time Walk. That's the one we really don't want to lose. If you mill past your Time Walk or Ancestral Recall or whatever, it's just gone and you got to make it work with the Atraxa that you have. Normally that's enough. But having Gaia's Blessing, if you mill past this, it goes to your graveyard. It shuffles your graveyard into your deck. You still get an Atraxa with your whole deck available. And you can get into these really cool spots where you just Oath every turn. You Oath an Atraxa into your existing Atraxa, Legend Rule them, just refill plus 10 cards every turn, and you could never run out. That's a very exciting end game to get into. I hope that happens at least once. Outside of the One Ring change and playing Gaia's Blessing, we're trying to resolve Oath of Druids or Show and Tell to put an Atraxa Grand Unifier into play, and then beat our opponent with those things. That's the plan. Let's get it. This is Simic One Ring Oath. Check out the first annual Eternal Team Trios Winter Tournament held at Bifrost Games in New York City, New York. Teams consist of a modern, legacy, and vintage player in this fully proxy-friendly environment. The top-placing 4 teams will draft from the prize pool of Judge Promo, Flooded Strand, Windswept Heath, Wooded Foothills, and Wastelands. Get your team together for March 23rd, 2025, and sign up by emailing nycteamtriostournament@gmail.com. I'm on the play in round 1 with a hand that is mildly tragic. With a Mox, I'm all in here. If one of these lands was just some other spell, I'm all in here. I don't think I can keep a 5-lander. If I knew the matchup, they didn't reveal Aluris, which is important. Like, Aluris deck is the kind of potentially slower matchup that I might be into a hand like this in. But the reasons not to play Aluris are initiative cards or Bolas's Citadel. Okay, I'm going to keep this one. Put an Atraxa to the bottom. There's an Atraxa in my hand that I can pitch to force. This is a turn 2 Oath, but I'm actually doing vintage stuff, and I have some interaction. Mishra's Workshop. Please cast a creature. Please cast a creature. Vexing Bauble. Disappointing, but okay. Even Lodestone Golem is fine. I have the extra mana. Stone Coil X equals 4. Okay, I can stick the Oath here. Mox Jet showing up a turn too late. And we will see what they want to do about this. Stonecoil Serpent does blank Atraxa. It has protection from multicolored. I do have a deck full of Besejus to clear that out of the way. I can't Oko or attack Atraxa through this thing. Opponent's got Tolarian Academy. They've got a really good start. Let's see if my complete nonsense can just outmaneuver it. Here we go. Oath is on the stack. I would like to use the ability. Thanks for asking. Okay, Gaia's Blessing and Atraxa both trigger. I want to look at my graveyard. Oh, wow. I mean, there's an Atraxa in my hand and there's one on the bottom of the deck, but all 3 of my remaining Atraxas were in the bottom 4 cards of my deck. Well, I guess I want Gaia's Blessing to trigger first. I was going to assess what was in the graveyard to decide what order I wanted to drop them in, but clearly this is the answer. Okay, Urza's Saga, I like. Oko is probably better than Narset, but still pretty mid. Gitaxian Probe is a sorcery that's better than Show and Tell here. Black Lotus is the only artifact. Might as well take it. Brainstorm is the only instant. And I don't actually want Atraxa. I could take Trop instead of Saga, play Oko, Elk their Vexing Bauble. No, I like Saga. Alright. This is my plan. Draw for turn. Oh shit, I drew Gaia's Blessing. Well, that stinks. That's the way that can go wrong. Well, I could brainstorm it away, so it's not actually gone wrong. We're fine. Everything's fine. There's a Saga. And I could play a bonus Oath. Just put it into play. Might as well. And I have 8 cards in my hand. I guess I'm going to discard this Mox Jet. If their list has Phyrexian Metamorphs, that becomes a problem I need to solve. Ghost Quarter's fine. My deck's full of basics. I'll get the basic island. Neither of us can attack here. Okay, Oath just trigger. Oath doesn't trigger because we have the same thing, same amount of creatures. I'll play Hedge Maze first and then cast Oko, I guess. The One Ring, okay. That's a game changer. Oko. Now I can Elk their Vexing Bauble. Oh, do they have Force Will in their deck? That's so cool. Okay, just Mindbreak Trapping, that's fine. Alright, sweet. The main deck Mindbreak Trap, not meant for that, but it does do the job. I do feel massively favored here. They can't play a creature. At some point I'll find a Beseju or something that breaks this open. Or they find Caracas, that also kind of breaks it open. But that lets me Oath again, so it's fine. Okay, they're in for 4. And then in my upkeep, Oath triggers. And I'm going to Brainstorm in response. I'm going to put back Atraxa and Gaia's Blessing. And then I'll mill the Blessing. I'm going to stack the Atraxa first this time, because I don't want the cards that are in the Blessing. Oko's back. One Ring, what's up? Ancestral Recall. I already have a One Ring. Do I want another one? I think I'd rather... Does Mana Crypt even help here? If this Oko does its job, then I don't need Forbidden Orchard. Misty Rainforest. Show and Tell. One Ring versus Crypt. I'll take the One Ring. Okay, then Gaia's Blessing triggers. Then the other Oath trigger happens, but doesn't actually happen. And draw Polluted Delta. Ancestral Recall looks pretty good here. I think I'll try this Oko first. Because if my free spells are unlocked... Okay, here we go. Elk the Vexing Bauble. They didn't draw a card in response. That's interesting. Okay, dumping out the squad. Ancestral myself. Before I play the One Ring. I can't target myself with that if I play the One Ring first. Fetch. There are still fetchables in the deck. Let's get them. And then I can Beseju the Caracas for 1 mana. Because I have a Legend. And then I'll play the One Ring. I have protection from everything. Might as well probe you at this point. Probably could have done that at the start of the chain. 3 completely irrelevant cards in their hand. Love to see it. And I'll discard some lands. They lost a flip. Ancient Tomb, Mox Emerald. Here they come. Here come the cards that we saw. Sphere is fine, I guess. Ooh. Did they draw a card that perfectly lines up with Sphere somehow? Okay, just a enormous Stone Coil. And that's still a problem, but I think I'll be okay. Attacking Oko. That one does not have protection for everything. And do I actually want to draw a card, or do I just want to Oath? There's one Atraxa left. If I draw my last Atraxa or draw the Gaia's Blessing, I'll be bummed about it. Okay, I am not going to draw a card. Okay. Oath could trigger multiple times here as well. All right, figure out the graveyard. Time Walk's in there, so I will stack the... Well, first of all, Legend Rule, keep the one that can attack. And then I would like the shuffle to happen before the dig. I actually just, like, barely want these cards at all. Ancestral and Black Lotus are good. Yeah, I'll just stop there, and then I'm going to Oath again. Yes, do it again. These are the loops you don't see me play because my build normally doesn't allow for them. Okay, obviously, don't take Gaia's Blessing. We've got another One Ring, but I'm already holding one. Mox Emerald. Boseiju is my most important card here. Boseiju, Narset might as well. Force a Negation. Don't take the Blessing. Cool. Draw for turn. Okay, there is a sphere in play that I have to mildly navigate here. First, I'm going to Boseiju this Stonecoil Serpent, the one that can block. And then I'm going to attack for 7. And then the game should be impossible for them to win. Okay, and they agree. Cool. Well, that was fun. Versus shops. I like Oko. I like Force of Vigor. Sarah's Emissary is reasonable. If you name Artifact, that is like kind of a whole thing. That's their deck. Consign to Memory obviously does counter the cards in their deck, so it's probably good enough. Pithing Needle could name something like Wasteland. Force of Negation can fend off their various spheres and hate pieces. Cards that are bad. Flusterstorm, Mental Misstep, Gitaxian Probe. I do not care what's in their hand, and I can't counter these spells. Or their spells aren't counterable with these things. Narset doesn't matter very much here. I need all my lands. I need all my fast mana. Probably not going to be room for Pithing Needle. I need 3 more cuts if this is the plan. Show and Tell could be a little risky if they have something messed up in their hand, but it's not going to be better than Atraxa. I think I could still afford to shave 1, though, with the One Ring going. The kind of rules. Maybe I just don't want this extra Force of Negation. And if I'm bringing in 2 Emissaries, I could cut an Atraxa. I could also go 3 Atraxas, 1 Emissary. Just have 1 wild card in there, even though Atraxa remains the best one to hit. I think I like that. I'm doing this. No force, no fast mana, but my cards are all really good. This is the type of hand that just kind of folds to a sphere of resistance. I think I'm going to take my chances, though. Because if they mulligan down to, like, Grafdigger's Cage and prioritize that, this matchup's insanely good for Oath. Just, I don't know if I said that out loud, but they have to have a potent hit card, and they have to kind of cheese you on mana. And this keep did kind of allow them to cheese me on mana. Oh, there's the Sphere. And Saga. Okay. They've got a plan. And I will pass the turn. It's cool that I have a Hedge Maze in my deck. I have not played with the very many Surveil lands in Vintage before. There's like 1 in the Luris decks. Sometimes 2 if your color spread is right for it. But Vintage combo decks having access to that is exciting. Wasteland's not exciting. Okay, draw for turn. The One Ring. I'm going to play Boseiju. They're probably going to Wasteland it. I'm going to Ancestral Recall. We'll just see when these things happen, is what's important. Construct. And we did go to their turn. They won their Crypt Flip. Okay. I am going to Ancestral now. And I have a green source that's wastable anyway. I could get a blue source that's not wastable. Green is really important to me. If I get Trop, they'll just waste that, but then I get to keep Boseiju. But if they have a second Wasteland, getting Island plays around it. And I'm going to let them tutor first. Maybe I shouldn't have done this, because if they go Academy, represent Hardcast Mindbreak Trap, that's pretty embarrassing. I don't think there's a 1-drop that specifically punishes Ancestral Recall, though. Grafdigger's Cage is in. Wasteland. Ancestral myself in response. I'm looking for fast mana that can outmuscle a Sphere. That's not it. They do have the Academy. And Crucible of Worlds, okay. If I draw Black Lotus, I could still play this game. Atraxa. I'm going to be a turn late. Yeah, okay. All right. I identified the weakness of the hand, and the opponent did, in fact, have the thing that I said would be bad for the hand. That's fine. Now we get a game on the play, where everything is easier. Same deck, let's go. No fast mana, no actual plan. I can fend off their first 3 plays of the game. And if I like consign, force, stick Oko, that's reasonable. If they just wasteland me, that's really bad. All right, I will try this. Basic Islands in my deck. Opponent's also on 7. Wasteland. Soul Ring. I don't think I'm going to fight the Soul Ring. I'll try to bottleneck the payoffs because I did sign up for kind of a long game here. This card is annoying enough. If I'm not under pressure, then this sort of slow build your own adventure hand gets a lot better. Mox Emerald. Mox Sapphire. They're not done, folks. Disruptor Flute. This will probably name Oko, would be my guess. I mean, it resolves. It'd be clever if they name Force of Will. And by clever, I mean really annoying. I might have thought about that like 1 second too long, and now Force of Will is on the radar. Oko is the obvious name, though. Unless they're worried about getting turn 2 oathed. I hope they name oath with this, actually. Beseiju, okay. Interesting. Well, they're definitely going to waste this Ursa Saga, which means I get to keep my colored sources. I will play out the Saga. Waste, float. I do have to force a Crucible of Worlds if they have that. Grafdigger's Cage is a later problem. None of this stops Oko, which is my whole plan. All right, here we go. Force pitching Atraxa on that. They got 1 card left over there. Any Mox of any color. Oh, God. All right. Well, I could force again. I need 1 more mana. And then we go crazy. Wasteland. FML. Oh, they're tapping the Wasteland. I'm going to force the Golos and give myself this turn to rip the land. Mana Source. Oh, that's not better because they have Cage in play, but it is here. Now we're both in top deck mode. Another Flute. This one probably names Oko. Or I have shown them the One Ring. Pretty far away from that, though. Okay, Oko was named. This game has gone into garbage time. How about an Ancestral Recall? Flash will be good someday. Though I did just pitch one of my Atraxas. Soul Guide Lantern. That's a cantrip, but I mostly am not worried about it. Taking the Saga from my graveyard. Oh no, my opponent disconnected. I hope they come back. This game is getting interesting. Okay, they came back. It won't be that kind of game. Uh-oh. That's the one I can't flash in, though I did leave in all my Atraxas. We're both playing Draw Go now. What card would they draw but not cast? They only have 4 mana, so it's probably Golos. Even a land they would just put into play. Their hand is 5 drops or reactive nonsense. Alright, Hedge Maze. Get the party started. Mox Ruby. Do I want that anymore? I mean, Oko is not actually a castable card. Yeah, I don't actually want Mox Ruby. And I have the Oath trick available. If they put a creature into play, I guess creatures, they might hold back from playing those. Okay, they floated 3 mana, then cast Mox Pearl, then Mox Jet, and Trinisphere. Okay. I think I have to force Trinisphere. Yeah, I only have 2 mana. And this Oko is not helping much. I'll finish my thought. Oh, or I'll just draw Atraxa. Okay, flash in Atraxa. My thought was, if they play a creature, you can Oath into a Grafdigger's Cage. It mills all the cards. And then the creature can't come into play, so it just stays on top of your deck. Then you draw it. Then you can cast something like Flash. Okay. We've got Time Walk, Mox Jet, Oko. Oh, wait. Time Walk versus Show and Tell. No, I want Show and Tell. Show and Tell. Oko. I will take the Oath and the lands. Like, the second Oath doesn't matter much. But I do have Force of Vigor in my deck. And now I'm in an interesting spot, because if I Show and Tell Sarah's Emissary, they can trigger Oath. But, like, if they put in... Like, Golos is probably their best creature, but if they put in some shit like Patches O'Houlihan, I'm not worried about it. Ancient Tomb, they did cycle their Soul Guide Lantern. They're holding 1 card now. Oh, or I could just rip Atraxa and have an even better Show and Tell. Well, let's do it. But if their hand is Golos, they would have cast... No, maybe they don't cast Golos. Interesting. All right, Atraxa is still better. Just looking at 10 cards is so busted. They put in an Ancient Tomb. All right, this should be pretty trivial from here. Force of Negation's my instant. Beseiju's my land. Or is Forbidden Orchard better than Beseiju? No, I don't think I mind them oathing once. Mox Emerald, show and tell. Done. I could show and tell again right now and just put the emissary in. It would cost me Beseiju and let them oath twice, but what am I actually worried about here? Okay. I am just going to show and tell again. Show and tell, put an emissary, name artifact. It would be reasonable to name land here maybe, but I mean, their deck wins with artifacts, so don't go nuts. Opponent gets to oath, then they take 14, then they get to oath again. This is your trigger, opponent. Or is it my trigger, but the opponent chooses a target? Okay, weird. They did... Oh, right, there's Grafdigger's Cage. I don't even need to worry about oath. Roasted by your own hate card. Don't you feel foolish? Oh, man in the pool. Golos, okay. Well, that was pretty much the best draw. They can get Caracas. It enters tapped. They have to get clapped at least once here. Unless there's a better tech land. Like, do they play Glacial Chasm? I don't think they do. But if they did, that would be probably the right thing. Inventor's Fair, okay. They're taking a multi-turn line to solve this problem. I respect that. Attack for 1 Kajillion. I'll play out my Soul Ring. And now I have Hardcast Force of Negation available. If they invent for something like Ensnaring Bridge, I have it covered. The Serpent can't block my Atraxa anyway because they have protection from each other. Okay, moment of truth. What is the solution in the package? Phyrexian Metamorph. All right, that one's pretty good, but not even though, because if they choose Sarah's Emissary and not Atraxa, then it gets interesting. Like if they name Creature, yeah, they can't name Atraxa here. So neither of us can damage each other. Okay, what are you naming? Creature. Okay. All right. Now I'm having fun. So we're just bouncing off each other here. I could cast this Oko, but they can attack it and kill it. All right, I'll play my Misty Rainforest and pass. I'm looking for a Force of Vigor at this point. I have black, blue, green. I don't have white if I were to draw an Atraxa. There is one Brainstorm in my deck. I will leave this fetch land up. Oh, here's this shit. Let's go. Ka-chow. And suddenly, the other angle of the deck kicks in. And I have protection from artifacts, so I'm not going to take damage from the One Ring. Is it? Oh no, it's you lose 1 life. Never mind. Boring. Who invited the cop? Okay, I could Brainstorm now. I definitely don't want this Oath. Yeah, I'll Brainstorm now. Oath. Oh, there's the white mana that I mentioned. Now I don't want it anymore. I think I just win. Okay, fetch. Basic Forest. Force of Vigor. Your 2 creatures. Or I should get Sarah's Emissary and the Flute on Oko, I think is better. Zoop. And you're dead. That game was really interesting. I don't know if it was close, but it was interesting. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 2 versus a Lurrus deck. I have a turn 1 Oath I'm going to keep. And back up Ancestral Recall and back up Narset. And back up the One Ring. This is the Slamma-Jamma hand. Dimir Lurrus is a great matchup for Oath. That is one of the reasons I selected Oath for Eternal Weekend and the NYSC tournaments last year, both of which had successful results. Esper Lurrus is a little tougher. They have the Containment Priests out of the board. They can play Caracas if they want. And Lurrus could just be like some Breach deck or Time Vault combo deck. It's not necessarily the control version. The Island Go. I can play Oath off of Basic Forest. I'm just going to do this. This is like the perfect mana here. If they have Spell Pierce, they get a 1-for-1. If they have to force this, this is ideal. Force pitching Gitaxian Probe. That means they didn't have another blue card, or at least another blue card that they were willing to Pitch, because they could have probed me last turn. What are we saving up for? Caracas, confirmed, and Time Walk. Time Walk versus an opponent with one card in their hand is not that scary. That's the emergency explore, as we say in the biz. 2 cards in hand, no black mana revealed. Oh, this Hedge Maze is disappointing, but I still get to cast Ancestral Recall this turn. I could try to play around Force of Negation. If I Ancestral, I go to 8 cards and I could play my land still. All right, I'm going to Ancestral. And that worked. Easy peasy. Urza Saga, I could get that going. Does that matter? I'm just going to play the Hedge Maze. My hand is just all gas at this point. Brainstorm on top. I like that card. 2 mana. Curie. Oh, okay. So we're like Dreadnought something or other. Urza Saga. I'm going to play the One Ring. I don't have to worry about Curie if it can't touch me. Oh, no. The Caracas is kind of a face-up annoyance to shoving in this Atraxa, which was my plan. Black Lotus from the top rope. Suddenly, they're gaming. They could just like buy and then cast Luris here. If they have a land, they could make Curie into a Phyrexian Dreadnought right now. Oh, here we go! I am hyped. This One Ring protection, pretty important, it seems. Because they would have drawn 12 this turn, even if I shoved in Atraxa, and they didn't have Caracas. Okay, I'm pretty hyped about this. You've got a 12/12, and now I have to tread water against this thing forever. The double One Ring's going to keep me alive. The Narset's also pretty sick. Just turns off the whole important part of this. I guess taking 12 isn't exactly free. Right, they're sending a message. I remembered my trigger. Lose a life in my upkeep. Draw for turn. Guy's Blessing. Hate drawing that card. That's the flip side. Right, One Ring activation. Oko's busted here. A lot of good cards in my deck. Emerald. Crypt. Land for turn. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I could play a fresh One Ring and still activate Saga. I would like the new ring, please. This is a vintage deck, so I'll draw a card now. Another One Ring. Remember these play patterns from Modern? Are we having fun yet? I think making enough constructs to tangle with a 12/12 in combat is the best use of my resources here. Luris was purchased. It's in the grip now. Now the meme attack doesn't make sense because I'm actually clapping back for significant damage. One Ring deals 1 to me. Mana Crypt deals 0 or 3 to me. 3 is the answer. The 4th One Ring. LMAO. Is this tempo? It's either Soul Ring or Black Lotus. I got a lot of lands in play. Yeah, I guess Soul Ring. I mean, with this hand full of colorless 4-drops, makes a lot of sense. I'll draw 2 cards. Looking for a Boseiju to win the game immediately. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mana still available, so I can Brainstorm first. Put back the 2 lands. Then I can play Delta. Fetch away my bad Brainstorm cards. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to lead on the One Ring. Keep the new one. And then Narset will dig for Oko, who will win the game on the spot. Dig. Force of Negation, Oath of Druids. I don't think Oath matters. I also definitely should have brainstormed away this guy's Blessing. I'll take Force of Negation, and I'm not going to draw a card now because I just lose it. Cleanup, I'll discard one of the Show and Tells. I don't need 2 of those. Your own Saga, Luris in hand. If they want to attack Narset, I'll just double block, and they'll lose their Dreadnought. I have enough counters and enough cards in hand that I think keeping Luris off the board makes sense. I'm going to keep the Atraxa. Show and Tell Atraxa. I just got a lot of looks at Boseiju, at which point we go nuts. End step, draw a card. Orchard, Ring, and Crypt triggers. I won the flip. Lucky. Mox Pearl. Activate Narset. Both Boseijus go to the bottom of my deck. Bummer. Alright. Blusterstorm to my hand. I can use Gaia's Blessing to shuffle up to 3 target cards. That puts the Boseijus back into my deck somewhere other than the bottom. I target myself with Blessing. I would like the One Ring, and Ancestral Recall back in my deck. I drew a Misty Rainforest. Draw with the Ring. Ancestral Recall, it's back.
Ancestral myself. I'm going nuts. This train doesn't stop until we find an Oko or a Boseiju. Okay, we found Oko. Now I think the game is over. Green, blue, Oko, Elk, your Kiri, Dreadnought, and attack for infinity. Cool. That was sweet. Oath of Druids, never part of that game, never needed to be. The One Ring doing its job. Utter insignificance. This card that I'm surprised to see in a vintage deck, but I'm excited about it. Flash Enchant Creature. Enchanted creature is a 1/1 with no abilities. And for 2 and a colorless, I can exile that creature. Presumably this is in here because we can't play Long Goodbye or Abrupt Decay in the Simic build. Oko seems really important. Utter insignificance is relevant. Force of Vigor does kill every creature we saw outside of Lurrus. Force of Negation doesn't seem that important. I don't think I want to move on to Emissaries. Mental Misstep is excellent versus both Lurrus decks and Phyrexian Dreadnought decks. Narset's good. This is probably a Wasteland deck, even though we didn't see any of that game. They're going to have Containment Priests. And maybe Narset's not that good against decks that can nickel and dime with creatures. Flusterstorm helps my stuff resolve, but doesn't fight a lot of their important spells, like Containment Priest, Kiri, Lurrus, Dreadnought. Maybe I'll shave a Show and Tell. Don't want to enable any combos for them. I'm going to try like this. Ugh. The Brainstorm hand. I'll keep Island Ponder. This is as close as we get with this deck that doesn't contain Ponder. Opponent kept 7 this time. They were on 5 last time. I will force a Kiri if they play one. I'll keep Ancestral Recall. I'll fight my fight here. If they're fighting back, force, 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 force. Your Ancestral works. Flash. That card's powerful. I should have played Polluted Delta here because I'm planning on getting Hedge Maze and... Oh, they both get Island and Forests in my hand. It doesn't matter. Never mind. Time Walk. Especially in creature decks, I don't like firing off Time Walks like that. And I don't know their hand. Maybe it's correct somehow, but like at some point you can buy Lurrus, cast a spell off Lurrus, Time Walk, get another spell off Lurrus while attacking for 3 lifelink. And a Dreadnought deck, Time Walk is frequently close to lethal. Null Rod, okay. Null Rod Lavinia. They're squeezing me here. I'm gonna have to play on basics, which my deck is able to do. Okay, fetch the basic island here, and then I'll brainstorm away the forest, and then be able to fetch it. Mox Pearl, Ancestral Recall. Well, I really like Ancestral Recall. Probably more than I like Basic Forest. Okay, Mox Pearl and Tropical Island go away. Yeah, I can Ancestral here and maintain 7 cards in hand. I don't have to go to discard. I'm playing into Force Negation, but if I give them a turn, I'm opening myself up to Spell Pierce, which is even worse. Okay, a bunch of cards I can't cast. Boseiju does kill Null Rod if I care, but I don't think I do. I'm looking for a monster to go with this Flash and Show and Tell at this point. That's the game. And I have some number of turns to do it. It's currently 9, but Lurrus can join the fray. Fetching another Tundra, so this is probably an Azorius deck, not an Esper one. And Lurrus in the grip. The One Ring, okay. That is of interest to me, to remove the Null Rod now. But they can Lurrus the Null Rod back. And Lurrus is really good. I can Show and Tell the One Ring just to get it into play, but I have to give them a Forbidden Orchard. I don't get protection. If you Show and Tell One Ring, you have to cast it to get protection. There's currently no cards in their graveyard that work with Lurrus, and I don't know that I want to feed them Null Rod to do that. Yeah, I think I should take my chances drawing Atraxa. Though, yeah, I get 1 card off this One Ring. Yeah, that's not good. Taxian Probe. I have to pay mana for this thanks to Lavinia. Literally a cop. Force Priest Plow. Okay, well, it's a good time right now to flash. I have to use Forbidden Orchard to do it. Yeah, right this exact second. They can't put in Containment Priest or do anything. All right. Flash. And Lavinia is going to make it hard to leverage these cards, but I do get them. We've got Ring, Oko, Oath, Misty, Misstep, Fluster. Fluster Oath is almost good here. Oath, Oko, Misty. Do I want a ring? I'm just going to end up going to discard. And the ring doesn't work. I'm going to decline the ring. And I'll discard Mox Jet this turn. In real life, I would cast it just to force check them. But that doesn't work online. Discard Mox, and I mean, this priest is really bad. Maybe I wasn't supposed to take the oath. I need all my lands. Force of Vigor, I don't really care about. Okay, I'm actually going to discard the Force of Vigor. Oko's the important card now. That's what the game's about. Resolving Priest while I'm tapped out. Attack for a bunch. Got Force Plow, one mystery card over there. Utter insignificance. Interesting. That is my answer to Priest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am dead on board though, so it doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm dead that way as well. Okay, I guess I just have to play the One Ring as Time Walk. But it's not really Time Walk because my opponent gets a turn in between. Okay, the One Ring. If they force this, they just win. But it's here to be protection for a turn and nothing else. Fog. It takes 0 from the ring. They just didn't do anything on their turn. No land, no play. Now I have a Force of Will. What do we do with all this? I could Oko and Elk my One Ring. Then I take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They could Plow. All right, I'm going to play Boseiju and play Oko. I can force pitching Show and Tell. This is going to be really tight. Okay, they're forcing. Force pitching Dress Down. I'm going to force pitching Show and Tell. Oh, shit. Shame concede, shame concede. Never mind. Televinia was in play for so long. I forgot. All right. Do I want Sarah's Emissary? Does that do anything? I mean, it could stabilize a spot like that where they just have a bunch of creatures, but they still had Plow. I will say I miss the black cards in this game right now. Okay, if they have Null Rod in, maybe I shave Mana Crypt and get Flusterstorm back. I just hate having Mana Crypt in play when there's a Null Rod around. Okay, I'm gonna try it like this. Okay, this is multiple shots at early Oath, followed by Show and Tell, followed by the One Ring. I'm in. It's weak to Wasteland, but what else is new? They went to 5 again. Mystery Rainforest, maybe one of the best cards I could have seen on top of my deck, short of like Black Lotus. But if they've got Null Rods and Lavinias, maybe I don't even want Black Lotus. Ruby, Flooded Strand, Mox Pearl. Oh, we're blazing here. Are they going to buy Luris? Are they going to Stone Rain me? Just cast the card Stone Rain. I thought I was free of getting Wastelanded. Doorkeeper Thrall. Fascinating. Okay. So they'll let me have 7/7s, but they won't let me have cards. And you get a 12/12. Okay. That sucks. Good mull to 5. All right. Oath of Druids. I mean, I'd still like a 7/7, even if it doesn't do anything. That was awesome. Yeah. Go to 7 on this attack. And if they have a follow-up, like anything follow-up, even just like Chain of Vapor, my Oath of Druids would be pretty rough here. Much less Containment Priest or something actually good. Okay, they bought Luris. Well, let's take a spin. Kind of wish I boarded in one of those emissaries at this point. Yes, give me my 7/7. Draw a card. Oh, sick. That's one of the better cards I could have. I am going to pass the turn. Insignificance has Flash, so I have some options here. If Doorkeeper Thrall attacks, I can block that, and I go to 2 in combat, and then Oath is actually online. I could just eat the Dreadnought in combat, but with Luris, they could just play it again. I really want this Doorkeeper Thrall out of the game. That's what I'm saying. Starts to Plowshares. Okay. This is fine. I go to 14. They attack me to 1. Is this fine? I could just insignificize the Dreadnought, or I could go after the Thrall and try to actually start Atraxing. I think gaining 11 life off this card is pretty significant. If they Spell Pierce me here, good job. Okay, that's a 1/1. I'll take my 2 damage. Oath up another Atraxa. 7/7 blocker mode. But they are down to 1 card that isn't Luris in their hand. Trigger Oath. Ooh, there's men in the pool. What's going on here? Containment Priest. Mother Fudger. Well, I will not be oathing. No. Draw a card. Taxian Probe. All right. If I find a land and resolve the One Ring, we can start doing stuff. Oh, God. Come on, Dak! Why? All right. Well, I'm going to get soloed by Containment Priest. Again. I think if I stuck the One Ring there, I could outmuscle this. I wouldn't get protection because of Doorkeeper Thrall, but I would be drawing cards. And losing the protection turn is so bad. Seal of Cleansing. Glad I played out the extra oath. Got him. Oh no, I'm just dead. All right. Because they could kill Utter Insignificance. Okay. That Containment Priest, well done. The turn 1 Doorkeeper Thrall, which turns off my deck into the Dreadnought on the Multi 5. That was awesome. Cool deck opponent. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3 with Mox Orchard Oath, as they say, with Force backup. This is the nuts. My opponent is starting the game with 7 cards in hand, have not revealed Aluris. Mox Emerald. Wasteland. Patches O'Houlihan. Okay, well, I got bad news for you, opponent. My hand's really good. I am going to fight over this Chalice because that stops my turn 1 oath. And after that point, I'm just less worried about it. And I'll just draw another Force of Will. This is easy. My opponent said, hello, YouTube. Can't wait to see the match. And yeah. Don't worry. I had the second for it the whole time. Inventor's Fair. There is not Metalcraft yet. Stone Coil Serpo. I think I'm going to ignore this because I have Boseiju in my hand. I could say Force of Will for real hits. Sphere Shops did just win a recent challenge. It might have even won the challenge that I pulled this list from. All right, Blessing and Atraxa again. Ancestral's in the pile. Oko. I would like to Blessing first, then Atraxa. Oko and Ancestral are both good cards. We've got Misty Rainforest, Mox Ruby. I'd rather have Ruby than the One Ring, I think. Force of Will, a blue card to go with Force of Will. Done. Mental Misstep. That will be Force Fodder. And I'll just pass the turn. I'll probably Boseiju the Stone Coil at the end step. I guess if I had done it there, they wouldn't have gained a life, but I don't know if they have a land with a type or not. I'd rather not ramp them, though they probably don't actually have a basic land type in their deck. Mana Crypt grows the patches. 2 cards left in hand, and I have 2 forces. Ooh, Scrawly Crawly. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 1 life. I do like cards, but I don't like alternate win cons that could clear an Atraxa. I'm going to force pitching Misstep. Misstep's not going to do anything, and that card might. End step, fetch for Tropical Island, Boseiju, the Serpo, and we'll see if they want to keep playing. They do have a swamp. Good to know. I will Oath again because I am the fearless Gaia's Blessing build. I would like to keep the one that can attack, and I milled 800,000 cards that did not include the Gaia's Blessing. Okay, there's the Blessing. I will not be taking that. Enchantment, Sorcery, Artifact, Land. Do I want an Atraxa? I don't think I do. I'll take Force. I do have 2 Show and Tells in my hand. That doesn't matter. The Atraxas can remain in the deck where they belong. And I don't actually want to shuffle my deck because I don't want to draw Gaia's Blessing. So I'm going to play the basic instead of the fetch. Get my Atraxa beats in. And then the One Ring. I guess I'm holding my Brainstorm, so I'm really not worried about anything here. All right, you can Oath, but you can't target me, so you actually can't Oath. That's a combo. They won their flip. Sphere of Resistance. I'll draw a card in response, see if I care. Oko. And with 1 card in their hand and this many forces, I'm just going to counter this thing. Patchwork Automaton is 1 point away from trading with Atraxa. Grafdigger's Cage in the main, you sick monster. You disgusting animal. Okay, I'm going to let that resolve because I have Oko in my hand and they have more creatures than me. I will not block. The ring protects. Oh, wait, did I just think about Oath completely bad? What am I even doing? What is going on in my brain right now? I did care about that Grafdigger's Cage. For some reason, I thought I was not in Oath range, but I obviously am. That was weird. Brain just turned off for a moment. Luckily, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to easily win this game, but that was weird. Just the foundational interaction of my deck botched it somehow. Okay. Oko, Elk the Grafdigger's Cage, play a land, and pass. Okay, I was confused because Oath does trigger. It just doesn't work. So the Oath triggering on their turn, Magic Online showed me a thing that it shouldn't show me. Ooh, Atraxa off the top is big. Big if true. Okay, well, Atraxa is back in my grip. And Oko dies, but at least Oath is just going to keep looping here. All right, fun. Suddenly gaming. I should check if there are fetchables left in my deck. We've got 1, 2, 3, accounted for in the graveyard, 4, 5. There should be, what, or a trop? Nope. I think I'm out of fetchables. 3 trops, 1 island, hedge maze, forest. Is the hedge maze still in my deck? I do not see hedge maze in my graveyard right now. It's possible I'm missing it, but I'm pretty sure it's in my deck. Okay. Didn't blow it. There are 2 Atraxas and Gaia's Blessing. I kind of want to hit the Blessing this turn. Does that matter? There is a second Atraxa in the deck. This is really interesting, actually. I'm actually going to bin this Atraxa. Is there a Bosh'nu in my deck? I should have looked while I was in there. No, they're both accounted for. Both Okos are accounted for. Yeah, I actually do want to try to spike the Blessing this turn. I would like to use Oath's ability. Missed 7 cards in my deck. Okay. Do I just take 0 of these? How does this work? What do I do? I think now I'm out of Atraxas. Jesus. Was I supposed to brainstorm? Did I just mess this up completely somehow? Okay, how do I get an Atraxa back in my deck? I have brainstorm. I've literally already answered my own question. Okay, I am actually going to say no to all of these. Okay, don't want them. Draw for turn. What a weird situation. Okay. I could... All right, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They're in for 11 next turn, possibly more. And they're going to Caracas my Atraxa. There's no way to do this at instant speed. I think I want to play Narset. Okay, play Narset. If I have the Gaia's Blessing in my hand, maybe I was supposed to take it off Atraxa. If I have Blessing in my hand, then Brainstorm is guaranteed to hit Blessing and Atraxa in the order that I want. And with 6 cards in my deck, Narset sees 4, the One Ring sees 3, I am guaranteed to have the Blessing in hand when I Brainstorm. I do have to make sure I have enough cards in my deck to still Brainstorm with, though. Mild concern. Okay, there's Gaia's Blessing. I will take it. And what do I do here? Just go to cleanup? Probably. All right. I'm going to discard Show and Tell and this other Oath. Okay, weird game. Starting to grind back into it. Opponent does have Mana Crypt hurting them. I do need to hit a One Ring or Time Walk off of my Atraxa trigger. Okay, they're going to the fair. I have a grip full of forces. Stonecoil Serpent. If they play this, it'll tap them out of Caracas, so that's just going to be in their hand, yeah. Caracas gets bounced. Or the Atraxa gets bounced with the Caracas, are the words I'm looking for. Here come the beats. I take 2 from the ring as well. Oh, putting some on Narset, that's fair. Okay. Okay, then in the end step, I don't want to tap the One Ring because I don't want any of the cards in my deck. I do want to Brainstorm and put back Atraxa first with Gaia's Blessing above it. And now we're ready to go. Take 2 from the ring. Target you with Oath. Yes, use the ability. Stack Gaia's Blessing on top And now I'm looking at fresh cards again. 10 looks, One Ring's good, Boseju's good, Time Walk's good. There's the Walk. Okay. We're out of the hole. Walk, Soul Ring, Ancestral. Don't really want Forbidden Orchard, but I'm almost out of fetchables. I don't want Oath of Druids. Done. Okay. Took some wiggling, but yeah, we solved it. That was much tighter than I thought it was going to be based on how turn 1 went. Good match. Good game. The match is not over. Force of Vigor, Sarah's Emissary, Oko, Consign. We've seen this already. Probe, Misstep, Fluster all coming out. It's interesting because aggro shops can play their own Null Rods, but they're also a Sphere deck where I want Mana Crypt. So based on how they sideboard here, I think I'm going to leave Mana Crypt in. Narset comes out. Did I cut an Atraxa last time or did I go up to 5 monsters? I don't really remember. I think 5 monsters is better because you might not have time for show and tell if you don't draw one. What did I even do? My brain's goo. Force Negation? Okay. When in doubt, board out a 1 for 2. Another Mox Oath hand. No Orchard. This is also turn 1 the One Ring if they have turn 1 Cage. Don't know what's happening after that, but the One Ring will figure it out. Opponent went to 6. Mishra's Workshop. Is there a Trinisphere in my future? Pithing Needle. Oko or Boseju? The One Ring would be such a sick ice cold name here. But I think Oko and Boseju are generally correct. Misty Rainforest for the Soul Read. The One Ring, okay. Sick one. They did make the correct choice. Much to my misery. I will eventually have to play into Wasteland anyway, so I'll just do it. Okay, passing the turn. The One Ring can still get Fog for a turn, even if I can't activate it. There's the Wasteland. Please play a creature, please play a creature. Let's go. Crypt flip. Lost the flip. Oh. Is Show and Tell better? I think it might be. I'm going to get Trop and just shove Show and Tell here. And I think I'm going to put an Emissary name Artifact. Played around it. There's that Caracas. Sweet. Okay, the race is on. Adventure's Fair. 1 card left in their hand. This does have reach. It can jump for or no, it can't. We got the GGs. Yeah, that was a really interesting sequence. They had Atraxa like soft covered in a variety of ways. I would have refilled, but like maybe they could take me off mana and get through, but just the fun of Sarah's Emissary out of the sideboard, shutting it down. On to the next one.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables.
I'm on the draw in round 4 versus a non-Loris opponent who kept 7. I will keep my hand with Ancestral Recall and multiple routes to Atraxa in it. Mox Pearl, oh good. It's the Nightmare matchup. Here we go. Sand might be too slow. They're down to 3 cards now. What's left in the tank over there? Are you playing around Mindbreak Trap or what's going on? Upkeep Ancestral. Well, they have scarier cards in their deck than Ancestral, but I still have to fight my fight here. I'm going to pitch Atraxa, and they're going to know everything they need to know about the matchup now. Okay. How about I Ancestral me now? Okay, another Force. This mana doesn't quite cast the Oath. We were almost in. Okay. Suddenly feel like we have breathing room, but could definitely still lose. Flaring Academy. Oh, this is a lot of mana in the pool. Coveted Jewel. Gotta fight. Okay. They're untapping their Mox Pearl. Filtering blue into white. Okay. Can I breathe? Is there a shot at Atraxa? I need them to not have another banger here. The One Ring is really tough because I can't even oath into that. Coveted Jewel, they could just win. PO for 2. I accept that. Emerald's back. Pearl, or no, Emerald wasn't here before. Key was. So these are 2 unknown cards in hand. Looks like I am going to get an Oath Trigger. Okay. This is why this is so terrifying. Oh, wait. Oh, fuck, I forgot to... Oh, no! Well, that is devastating. I was just, like, so scared of their turn. I literally forgot to fucking give them a creature. I hate my life. Got to my turn, and I was like, wait, where's the Oath Trigger? It's okay. The matchup's only about getting extremely lucky multiple times just to get to exactly that moment that I just failed to execute on, and now I lose. God damn it, Brian. All right. Okay. Well, fuck me. All right. At least we know how to sideboard. Consign to Memory, Force of Vigor, Mindbreak Trap. Oko pitches to my forces, both the blue and green ones, even though it's like maybe mid on the back end. Like as Oko, it might be kind of mid, but I still think it's fine. Narset's great. What a disaster. Okay. Mental Misstep, Flusterstorm. Flusterstorm really only counters Paradoxical Outcome and Force of Will in their deck. We've got... Maybe I don't have room for this Oko. Maybe I don't play my full boat of One Rings. In One Ring and Atraxa are both things that they can copy. I don't need my basic forest in the deck. They're not going to attack my mana at all. And Island's better. This is a matchup where Gaia's Blessing is really important, because if they start metamorphing my Atraxas, they might actually run me out of ways to win the game, where Gaia's Blessing lets me keep it going. Maybe I just don't actually have room for this Oko. I'm just looking at my sideboard map, and it's not checking the boxes it needs to. Okay. God, that was embarrassing. But we fight on. Okay, Force of Vigor and turn to Atraxa. I will try this, even though I recognize it has some weaknesses. Force of Vigor is not nearly as good as Force of Will. And Show and Telling this deck, if they put in Jewel, Shop, Manifold Key, Pass. Okay. Okay. Time Walk. Not a bad card. I'm just going to Show and Tell and see what we have to say about that. Opponent might just force it, or they might have something better than I have to put in. But this is the hand I kept. Force, pitching, force. Okay. Sad. Pass the turn. Didn't even pitch a PO or a good card. Okay, Shop again. On the control hand. It's One Ring time. They could copy this with Metamorph, which I would not be super in love with. But I get the first tap. Oh, they are on the control hand. Force pitching into the Flood Maw now. All right. They've fended off 2 layers. Maybe they'll forget to cast Coveted Jewel now. Just reverse last game. The triple force hand. I can hard cast Force of Vigor now. I could just value Time Walk. That is such a weak position to take, though. I'm going to hold on to Time Walk in case I resolve a One Ring, or if I find a Forbidden Orchard, that's a time to Time Walk into this Oath. Draftigger's Cage. Don't love it, but okay. I can force these 2 things right now. Yeah, I'm just going to do this. Makes Academy, PO, Time Vault, a lot of things worse. And look at that, rewarded immediately. Oath of Druids. Load of blue, give you a Dingus. I remembered this time. Time Walk. I think it's better to walk into the Atraxa than it is to hope to survive the turn and then walk with Atraxa in play. That's just what the matchup's about. Okay, that was weird. They took a posture that their deck's not really built to take, which is the triple force, no plan posture. And I'm glad I was able to beat it. And now, submit again. In Pithing Needle can name the One Ring or Time Vault, but I don't know what else I would cut at this point. Mindbreak Trap plus Force Blue card, and a slightly accelerated One Ring. I'll try it. Ancient Tomb. Mana Vault. That's 1 spell. Yeah, they can just sequence carefully and play around. Ooh, okay. Sequencing around Mindbreak Trap might have just walked them into Consign. But I did also have Mindbreak Trap, so what are we even debating here? I could Beseiju the Vault, but I actually just want mana to cast the One Ring. It's a lot of mana. Vexing Bauble. Well, we hate that. I guess I can sign that one. Or I could let it resolve, Boseiju it. That cost me my land, though. Okay, I'm going to counter this with Replicate, just in case this is worth a Force of Will to them. A lot of mana in the pool. Karn the Great Creator. No way, Jose. And if they fight back, Mindbreak Trap is on, or if they have another spell, Mindbreak Trap is on. Okay, drawing a Mox Soul Ring Mana Crypt here is great. All right, I'll take that. It sets up next turn. Another Consign. Give me that. Give me that. This is the turn I have to survive. Should I kill their workshop? Is the question. That delays my Boseiju. Or that delays my... Alright. I'm going to take my chances here. Might be a mistake. But I need to get something going. Talon Gates with no target. This is 6 mana, though. This is the magic number. Sad. Okay. Here's this. +3. Metamorph. That's 2 spells. I guess I'm supposed to Boseiju the Drool in response to the Metamorph, at least. Yeah, that was a mistake. Pithing Needle resolves. Did they name the One Ring? That's a card in their deck. No, Oko, sure. Alright, they passed with 5 cards in hand. Okay, there were 2 spots where I could have interacted better that game, and I did not. Or that turn, and I did not. Alright, I'm gonna play the One Ring and then maybe die. They got 5 cards in hand. Force of Negation. Bummer. 4 cards in hand. Yeah, I just got like so married to the idea of casting the One Ring, which isn't even good. I should have probably Boseiju the Workshop, and absent of that, I should have definitely Boseiju the Coveted Jewel in response to the other thing, the Metamorph. This might be one of the worst played matches ever caught on camera by me. Grafdigger's Cage, 1 spell. Okay, I mean, if they're out of gas and Control Oath can kick in, now I can counter 2 spells, just Hardcast, Mindbreak, and Consign. And they do seem to be struggling. Not fighting over a Grim Monolith. Lariat Academy. That taps for 1 billion. I am going to fetch in my upkeep. There is a Brainstorm in my deck, but there are also better cards. Oath of Druids. No reason to play that into the Grafdigger's Cage while they have no creatures. Here I have to think about what cards are in their hand that they're not playing. They could just be building up a triple send, knowing that my deck's pretty weak to that sort of thing. Or they could just be drawing lands, or they could have a grip full of counterspells. Or they could put 20 mana in their mana pool, and we could see what this shit is. Paradoxical Outcome, yikes. Well, Consign to Memory doesn't counter that. And they have plenty of mana floating just to sink into Stupor. Okay. And they have... That's 2 spells. Yep. Okay, so they can PO here, draw some enormous number. They are in the Mindbreak Trap zone now, but they know about Mindbreak Trap. Soul Ring, Vault, Monolith, Time Walk, sure. Cage, the One Ring. Well, not beating that either. So I will flush out the Mindbreak Trap they know about, and then hope that their hand is just a bunch of air. Interesting that they stopped there with 7 floating and a walk turn available. Like, they could have just started playing out the jewels again and didn't. All right, I'll consign this jewel, but they've drawn like 11 extra cards this game already. I don't want to play anymore. This was just a disaster of a match that I feel very silly for even getting to this game 3, and then the game 3 I made multiple mistakes. Let's forget this happened. On to the next round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record on the line. A weird hand. This is kind of turtle mode, which I don't love when I'm a proactive combo deck, but I do get to see a bunch of cards, and I'm unlikely to die on turn 1. I'm in. I'm going to probe my opponent and see how likely I am to die on turn 1. They kept 7. Oh, good. It's just a bizarre deck on 7. Great. We are dead on turn something. Okay, so they have potentially a turn 1 Vengevine. If there's a creature in their top 3 cards, they have turn 1 Vengevine with Force backup. Disturbing. I do have Boseiju who endures. That can kill the Bazaar Baghdad eventually. Alright, I'm going to play Black Lotus and see if this is good enough for their force. This is my second spell of the turn. I'll pass now. Not giving you that Mindbreak trap on the house. Bazaar, that's happening. No creature, no creature, no creature, no creature. Okay, they didn't even discard the Root Walla. Oh, that's weird. Did they find 2 copies of Hollow One? And this deck is not known for its spells, so I'm going to Force of Will this Hollow One. Interesting. They could have had Vengevine here and chose not to. What's going on over there? I'm suspicious. Alright, I'm going to draw for my turn. Another land. I think I just want to roast the Bazaar here and save the Brainstorm for later. Depending on how this deck is constructed, they may or may not have a basic to tutor for. Looks like no. Did we find another Bazaar? Great. Thought I faded somehow, but no. Just 2 Bazaars in the top 10 cards with a second Vengevine and a second Ruala. I understand why they waited now. We're so fucked. And the Force Blue card's still in the hand. Holy smokes. Welcome to Vintage. Okay, I take half of my life total's worth of damage here. Then I'm going to cast Brainstorm and concede. Yeah, knowing they have Force Blue card in hand, even if I Brainstorm into Show and Tell Atraxa here, it's not enough. Well, that was a disaster. Sarah's Emissary is great. Ravenous Trap is fine. I don't love it, but it works. Pithing Needle's great. Force of Negation is bad. Flusterstorm is pretty bad. Mental Misstep, pretty bad. Gitaxian Probe can give me important information in this matchup. Narset's sick. This is not Dredge. They actually do need to draw cards with their Bazaar for their deck to function. I will keep the Narset. And they are a Wasteland deck. I'm not going to board out one of my basics. The One Ring, chanting One Rings together is an endgame I could get into. And Mana Crypt is extra damage, but it also lets me do stuff. Interesting. I'm out of cards I want to cut. Force of Will's not great, but fighting over their counterplay on a clutch turn is pretty significant. The Show and Tell is important for speed. And just looking at this deck, I'm almost tempted to cut an Oko. But if we go into crap mode, where I just need to beat like a Hollow One and 2 Root Wallas, Oko's really good at doing that. Okay, after some consideration, I am going to cut the Gitaxian Probe. Let's get it. This is a turn 3 Atraxa with Force backup. No counterplay for a Bazaar. I'm going to keep. Go ahead, tell me I'm a fool. All right, they have a Serum Powder. 1 Force of Will, 1 Vengevine gone, 2 Hollow Ones gone. Followed by a Malta 1. That's the universe balancing out the double Bazaar open last game. Or we saw their opening hand. It wasn't a double Bazaar open. It was a second Bazaar top deck. Okay, the 1-card Bazaar hand. How do I make sure I don't lose to this? I think I don't fetch Hedge Maze. I play on basics. And I just cast Show and Tell on turn 3. Is getting cheesed by a Wasteland here is a way things could go poorly for me. They could still present a lot of power and toughness this turn. It's just unlikely to be backed by any sort of interaction. Alright, just a Hollow One, and they're all in. Now I can fetch my Hedge Maze. Hedgerino. Force of Will. I don't want another one of those. I barely want the first one. One Ring. Let's go. Okay, Show and Tell. I don't have to worry about them putting anything in. They don't have anything. And we've got a concession. Don't even have to figure this out. Sweet. Okay, the double Bazaar into the Malta 1 pipeline. Now maybe we'll have an aggregate game where they sort of like keep 5 or 6 cards. I don't know. I also didn't have to show them anything out of the sideboard. I think that Atraxa did flip a Sarah's Emissary, so they've seen that now, but they didn't see a Ravenous Trap or Pithing Needle, I don't think. I'm going to be honest, I didn't look that closely at the Atraxa pile once they scooped. This hand sucks. Gonna mulligan. Mulligan. This has a very fast Atraxa. Backed by nothing. This is also a turn 1 One Ring plus Time Walk. What do I bottom then, if that's the plan? I could bottom... Well, I'm keeping this. Opponent's gone to 5. I could ship the Atraxa. I could just turn 1 flash the Atraxa and try to dig for another ring. I could save Time Walk for later. Yeah, I think saving Time Walk for later and having my mana and cards is the best long-term plan. Opponent's happy with 5. And let on Wasteland, not Bazaar. Interesting. And me with my beautiful blue deck here. Ancestral Recall, targeting myself. I'll start there, see if this is worth a force, and then I'll cast the One Ring. Oh no, they're just done. Okay. Tough crowd. Okay, a 3-2 result where I just blatantly punted both games that I lost against Jewel Shops. But that's okay. That's magic. Well, Streamer Brain kicking in. This deck felt pretty sweet. Not having Tinker, I didn't really feel the loss, but that's the sort of thing where if it's not in your deck to feel it, and we cut all the support cards, we cut the Vamp, cut the Mystical. It's not like I ever had Mystical Tutor in my hand and wished I could get Tinker, because the deck is just fundamentally constructed differently to not have that ever enter your mind. The One Rings were pretty fire, I'm going to be honest. I don't love that it exposed me to Null Rod, that one matchup we lost to the Lurrus Dreadnought deck, which was awesome, by the way. Shout out to that deck and that player. But getting... what I like about Oath is that it doesn't care about just normal stuff people are going to have. People are going to have to hate Oath specifically. A lot of the stuff that hits Dredge overlaps with Oath, like the Grafdigger's Cage, the Containment Priest, but like Ravenous Trap and Tormod's Crypt and that sort of thing, Leyline of the Void, don't affect Oath meaningfully. So increasing my exposure to a card like Null Rod that everyone's going to have if they want it. It also means I don't get to play Null Rod. It'd be really awkward to just have 2 Null Rods in the sideboard of your One Ring deck. But the One Ring carried its weight enough that this construction of the deck is pretty exciting to me. Gaia's Blessing did its thing. Again, maybe this is a thing where decks with the Tinker package don't need Gaia's Blessing, but if you don't have the Tinker package and you actually do need to win with Atraxa ultimately, then looping the Blessing is worth including. A lot of spots open up when you're not tinkering. 2 basic lands felt really good. We did play against a lot of Wasteland strategies in this league, and that was relevant. Utter Insignificance is such a weird card. I'm trying to think of something better we could play, but generally blue's removal is bounce spells, and green doesn't get removal. Simply not in the color pie, unless we resolve Atraxa and try to fight a creature, which is not how the games are going to work. And this is the worst Doomblade ever, but it is kind of a Doomblade, where that's just what you need. Very clever deck from Scalo94. Shout out to you for putting this out into the world. Argold, thank you for giving me the opportunity to play it. This was a lot of fun. Rejuvenated some of my excitement for Oath. I've been on Lurrus decks for the last 4 or 5 months. Feels good to be back in the saddle with Queen Atraxa. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.